Correct. Yeah. First,
the source and destination. Yeah.
yeah. Before assessment, you also need to discover the data, right? Some organization, they might have all the data in a proper CMDB, or they might have some kind of configuration management database and performance report, and they might have all the capacity report and so on. But some organization, they might not have it, right? So we need to first go and discover the data. Okay, we need to go and discover the information, then only the assessment will kick in, right? So first step is discover, then assessment, then what will be the next step? Can we go and start migrating now? Are we good?
Based on the assessment, we need to
for the
see
feasibility and do some.
Correct. So what we can say for feasibility check and all those things? See, almost all of you.
Pre-cut over
Yeah, very good.
migration testing kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's what planning, right? So which environment we need to migrate first, whether we need to migrate the pre-prod or UAT environment, which workloads are less critical for the business, which one can be migrated first, on all those things. So planning, then comes the migrate, then comes the stabilization phase, or you go and kind of optimize it, or stabilize it and operate it, or the day-to-day operations, right? The final step, right? This is how on a very generic terms, or in generic cloud terms, or generic migration terms, these are the kind of 6 different phases that is involved in a migration approach, or in a migration situation. Okay, and not I mean, there are tools which can help you with all the different aspects, but not all the tools helps you with these things, right? Let me help you with an option here. Okay, what happened? So you guys agree to this different phases, right? So these are the different phases when you want to do a migration or transformation or whatever. These are the different steps involved, or different phases involved. And what are the other things that helps you succeed in a migration? What are the important aspects?
See, Stan, we have to see the complexity of the,
Correct.
during that migration.
Correct.
So
So that those are all, yeah. So those are all will be done during the assessment, right? Assessment is to understand the complexity, priority of each of the application, importance of each of the application, all those things, right? So I'll come to that. But what I'm asking is there any other aspects we need to think? See, phases is fine, but are there any important things that we need to bring together in order for a migration to be successful? Okay, so yeah, go ahead.
Teams from architecture, the technical team.
Yeah, people, right? Very good. What else?
Business. I mean, the budget. Maybe
correct.
Commercial.
Okay, so tools, budget, whatever, right? And the process is very important. Correct. Venkatesh is right. So licenses, hypercare, the methodology, so all these things. Okay. So in general, people, process, technology, these things plays a major role in any kind of migration or any work that we do. Okay, this PPT, or people, process, technology, is very, very important. Okay, without properly planning all these 4 aspects, you will be failing in any activity that we do, any migration or transformation or whatever. See, if the right skilled people is not available during the day of migration, your migration will fail. Okay, so in general, organizations like larger organization, maybe like service provider companies like IBM or TCS or HP or DXC or whatever, they actually go and build a COE team for transformation and migration, meaning center of excellence team, which are focused on migration or focused on transformation. They call them as a migration factory, or they call them as a migration center, or cloud center of excellence for migration. So different organization call with different names, but they have a dedicated people who can leverage the migrations that they've done in the past. They will have a common lessons learned document. They will have a common KB article. They will have all the artifacts put into a common place. So they call it as cloud excellence for migration, or cloud migration factory. The different organization has different names. I've worked with few organizations, so I'm just able to give some standard names. So they will be forming a right skill team. They will be enhancing the people's skill in terms of migrating different workloads from one source to another source and so on. And in certain cases, not having people within will be sufficient. Okay, we also need to engage the right stakeholders from the customer side, the strong people from the customer side, like an application owner or an IT architect or an IT manager, should also be involved in the migration. If customer side persons, the right persons, are not involved, then you will also fail in that case. And also you have to involve skilled migration partners, because we are talking about migration to cloud. We are not talking about migration from one hardware to another hardware. So people plays a major role, either internal or from the customer or from the partner. So all these people should have to collaborate at the right amount or at the right levels, so that they can be successful. Then comes the tool. So always people think choosing the right tool will be enough. No, it is not the right thing, right? So right tools is always important, whether like if you're migrating from Hyper-V to Azure or VMware to Azure or from AWS to Azure, you need to go and choose which tools is very successful or which tools have got very high success ratio. So that is very important. You need to go and choose the right tool, right technology, like for example, whether we need to do a file-based replication or object-based replication or what kind of thing. And definitely the governance, the backend, as Ganesh highlighted, the backend network infrastructure plays a very important role, and identity infrastructure plays a very important role, because you need to kind of have authentication at the source destination. So security processes should have to be properly evaluated, and you need to kind of use all the right technology tools, whether right Active Directory or backend physical network or security engineers. Like tools and people, they will work hand in hand. Okay, so both of them plays a very, very important role. And after all this thing, okay, if you're not following the right process, meaning you have to inform the stakeholders well in advance, so that they can plan the downtime for their application. You have to kind of go through the change management process properly. You have to go and inform the stakeholders, inform the support team. You have to give, as part of the change management itself, there will be a lot of questions, right? They will ask, what is the backout plan? What is the downtime window? What is the, whether we have done it on the pre-prod or whatever, right? Success criteria, how successful this project, this particular migration will be. There will be a lot of questions that will be asked in the change management. And also we need to create a knowledge management on the other side, meaning you have to go and create a lessons learned document. You need to kind of create a lot of KB articles so that it can be reused. You need to kind of capture all the risk register, issue register, what are the decision making that we are doing, what are the problem tickets that we have raised in the past, whether we have a root cause analysis done for that. So all these things will be very, very important. If there is a kind of migration that is a known step-by-step procedure, you can also create a SOP for that, standard operating procedure for that. And what are the other areas, like you need to kind of understand the gaps and fix it before the actual migration, or you need to kind of take a backup. Like there are a lot of processes, right? Before you start the migration, definitely they will ask us to take a backup. They will definitely ask us to go and talk to the antivirus vendor or the security vendor, whether that will kind of create any troubles during the migration, or it will slow down the replication. So all these things are very important. So not just people, not just tools, even the processes is very, very important. If you're not following the proper process, and if you're not following the proper communication channels, even your migration will fail. The last thing is the methodology, how you are approaching the migration, or how you are kind of getting to the migration stuff. So what is the methodology, how you generally do a migration, whether you will go and directly migrate the production workload. You need to build a business case.
Development.
Yeah, you need to build a business case. You need to kind of create a justification. What is the tangible benefit? What are the challenges we are going to overcome? What are the benefits you are going to realize? That's the reason I was talking about the justification part, right? So you need to create a method. You need to kind of get executive sponsorship. Without sponsorship from the executive, you will not get budget to do that. Okay, then only you can do a POC. You can perform a kind of pilot or proof of concept or pilot. Then comes the actual migration. Okay, how you are going to do an actual migration, whether you are going to move the first non-production first and the production next, and which application will go first, all those things. So those strategical decision or those strategical approach, they might have some kind of migration dashboard, or they might use some toolkit to put together a plan in which phase which servers are going to the secondary site and all those things. Then comes the tracking, optimizing, and all those things. We need to find a way to track, we need to find a way to optimize, we need to find a way whether the handover is properly happening from the current vendor to the new vendor, or from current team to new team, and all those things. Because the current environment in on-premises will be supported by traditional operation team. In the cloud space, it might be a different cloud operations team. So there might be a lot of handover and all those things. So whenever we talk about migration, transformation, and all those things, these four things are very, very important. If one of them fails, the migration will fail. If you don't have a proper stakeholder communication, change management, the entire process will fail. If you don't have the right skilled person to perform the migration, then migration will fail. So everything is very important, and all these, when all four are equally important, right? So with that said, okay, so discover, assess, plan, migrate, optimize, and also some people say secure and operate. Okay, not just operate, you also have to check whether you have the right level of encryption, whether you have the proper protection for your data, whether you have configured proper backup in the destination. So you have to check the security as well, securing your data, securing your environment, and so on, and operating your environment. Some people call it a secure and manage, or secure and operate. It's all management, right? So these are the high level different phases involved. And when it comes to Azure, see, these are all general phases, okay, not specific to Azure. If you ask me what are the phases that Azure has defined, I can give you that details. Okay, as per Microsoft Azure, these are the different phases that are involved in migration. Okay, the terms will be exactly the same. Okay, Microsoft Azure phases. So they call it as migration, preparation, and business planning. Okay, that is the prepare and plan is their first step. Okay, then they go and do a portfolio discovery and planning. Okay, then comes the migration for them, migration and validation. The next step is the operate, optimize, and scale. Okay, based on your requirement, you can secure, scale, and all those things. Then finally, they will release the workload for production acceptance, and they will take, the operation team will take it off, handover or handoff, and maybe like testing and handover. So these are the 5 phases as per Microsoft Azure. Again, this is this general thing which is easy to understand, but every vendor, they have their own way of expressing things in their language, right? So these are the different phases as per Microsoft terminology. Okay, so at the end, during the discovery phase, what exactly we are doing? We are going and collecting all the inventory. We are going and collecting all the information, CI data. The next thing we are going and doing is reporting, or doing a discovery and assessment. So for inventory and assessment, what are the different tools you have used in the past? Any idea, like which are the tools which has helped you to get a lot of insight? Anyone has used any tools for discovery, assessment, and all those things? Have you used any specific tools?
Snow.
Okay, ServiceNow will give you definitely, like CMDB information will be there. That is your ITSM tool. Even Remedy will give you that.